So now we're just going to go through a few different types of meditation. Now, it's a long list here, so I'm not going to spend a long time on all of these, but this is really just to show you that there are lots of different types of meditation or ways to meditate. So mindfulness is a bit of a buzzword in meditation at the moment. Mindfulness is a particular type of meditation where you try and not focus on anything, in fact, and you allow things to come through your mind stream and awareness, but you try and keep your awareness. You try and not go with those distractions, not go with the thoughts. It's actually a bit more difficult to, if you're starting meditation, it's a bit more difficult to try mindfulness because it's easier actually to focus on one particular thing, which is why we teach that, that type of meditation. Kinesthetic meditation we've talked about a lot already today. That's meditating on sensations in the body. Visual meditation, of course, whatever you can see. Cooking is a form of task-orientated meditation. You can meditate while you're cooking in the same way that we've just been talking about, focusing on your hands, focusing on what you can see, the sounds, the smells even. Music is a great way to meditate. But one thing about music meditation is that it isn't just listening to music. So when you meditate on music, the most important thing is to focus as hard as you can on individual parts of the song or the track. The best way is actually to start dissecting the music track. So, there may be a drum beat. Focus on the drum beat. Isolate the drum beat and focus on that for 10 seconds, and then go to, there may be a melody or guitar, rhythm guitar or something like that. Go to another section of the track and isolate that, and then focus on that for 10 seconds. So basically what I'm trying to say here is that when you listen to music, quite often people won't be meditating, their mind may be going off. And they may be in a little dream world while they're listening to the music. That's not meditating on music. That's being lost in the mind stream. So if you're going to meditate on music, it's very important to focus intently. A musical instrument is a very good way to meditate. This is another task-orientated meditation. It's focusing on the sensations in your hands, what you can see. And you can, the creative process is also a very good type of meditation. That's another story. Auditory meditation, of course, what we can hear. Nature meditation is a brilliant way of meditating. There's a double impact where with meditating in nature, you can focus on all the objects at your disposal in nature. There is thousands of things going on around you that you can meditate on. But on top of that, there is an energy in nature which you'd start to download when you meditate in nature. And that gives you a peaceful sensation. The energy that is given off by nature, especially big trees, for example. Big trees give off a lot of subtle energy. And when we download that subtle energy, it makes us feel peaceful. So you get a secondary impact when you're meditating in nature. It's making you feel peaceful before you even start. So that's why meditating in nature can be really effective and really beneficial. Tom meditation, we've just talked about that, task-orientated meditation. Pottery is another example of task-orientated meditation. Very good way of meditating, focusing on the sensations in the hands and also physical exercise. So we just talked about that as well, walking meditation or swimming or any physical exercise, because there's always sensations going on in the body. Whenever you're doing any type of exercise, you can feel it in the body if you focus. See, this is another example of when people go and do exercise, whether they're going to the gym or whether they go running or walking. It's such a good opportunity to meditate, but so many people don't. They're getting the benefit from the exercise, yes, so I'm not going to criticize it. But the mind is going off. The mind is still doing damaging things unless you focus that mind and you focus it on the sensations in the body while you're doing the exercise, the tensions that are arising, the movements in the body. And mantra meditation, we've talked about that already, haven't we? That is a repeated phrase or word in the mind that you just focus on. You just keep repeating it again and again and again. And you are focusing on the thoughts, the object of meditation. A vision meditation, that's another type of visual meditation, but this is where you take yourself through a pleasant scenery or a pleasant scene. Quite often this is used with guided meditations, when a guide will take people through or talk them through a peaceful scenery. This is good when you're first starting out meditation, because it's kind of done for you. You're following the voice, you're following the story or the narration in the meditation. Emotional meditation we have talked about as well, meditating on that feeling in the body of that emotion, finding those negative emotions, finding that anxiety, finding that anger. Where is it? Where am I feeling it? Focus on it. And in doing so, we cut the emotional cycle in half. That's part of the emotional layer lesson. And making music, that is also a very good way of meditating. And here I'm talking about really the creative process. Now, there's something special that happens when you're being creative. Creativity actually comes from behind the mind. Now, this is something you have to go away and figure out and find for yourselves. But if you're a creative person or you like doing creative things, if you really analyze it at a deep level, what you actually find is that the mind gets in the way of creativity. The thoughts actually stop creativity. So creativity actually flows when there aren't any thoughts. So creativity is coming from behind the mind, somewhere behind the mind. It's actually coming from awareness. So the more creative stuff that we can do, the more we're going to be spending time in that stillness behind them.